Wi-Fi on? Yeah, it is. Okay, it's starting.
There.
Why is camera beautiful?
No. We live?
Sure are. Just hang on.
I'm sure pan around, get the band during introductions, you know. Just, we're here. You got it. How'd your cum towel? On my seat.
Alright, we got 7. If you guys want to go ahead and start. You want to wait a little while?
Is it
7,
rolling now?
8 viewers. It's growing. Okay.
Alright, well, hey, what's going on, y'all? This is Scott from Prowess here with the boys and a couple folks from the crew. Just wanted to talk to y'all for a minute about all the stuff that's been happening over the past couple of days. It's been pretty crazy for us. As most of you know, you probably saw the video. Somebody jumped into our bus a couple of nights ago in Burgestown and took off with it down the road. It's a pretty stressful thing. We've been dealing with that in the aftermath. You know, we've had to go through the process of assessing our gear and seeing what was damaged and seeing what, you know, what needed replaced and what didn't, and having our discussions in the bus about how we're going to move forward and things. We're actually sitting at a guitar shop here at Gourmet Audio in what's this, Cranberry Township?
Crafton.
Yeah. And so one of my amps is shot, and so we're trying to get that set up. First thing I just want to say is I appreciate everybody's support. I appreciate the help that everybody's offered, and you know, people have offered to let us borrow amps and let us you know, donate money, you know, to see if we need to get anything replaced, and we appreciate all of that. I want to update you and let you know most of the critical gear that we have on our trailer perfectly intact. We came out relatively unscathed, very fortunate in that regard. Like I said, I lost an amp head. Both of my guitars took a tumble, which pisses me off a little bit, you know, but and we've got some damage to the trailer, some damage to the RV in here, but all that stuff can be replaced. Nobody was injured. Nobody was seriously injured, and that's the main thing that we got to be happy about, is that everybody's still intact. We're all healthy. We're all safe, and we thank you for your concerns and your thoughts on that. So we're going to do a couple of things. We're going to tell you guys what we plan to do moving forward, but I think first we need to explain to you what exactly happened and how all this shit went down. So, you know, I think you guys heard my part of it in the video we did before, kind of there on the scene, but there were actually people in the bus, multiple people in the bus at that time. I think there were about 7 or 8 people in here. I know Dalton was in here, of course. Kenny was also in here, but I didn't see that because when I got here, he was in the bus, and I didn't even see him. But and then some friend, my mother was in this bus, my uncle was in this bus, and actually my uncle's standing here right now. He's gonna tell you what he saw. So tell him what happened in the bus before that thing took off, man. Introduce yourself. My Uncle John.
My name's John. I'm Scott's uncle. Come down, have a great show. You guys did really well, and craziness happened. Kind of freaked us all out. I was standing right here. I was taking a Facebook video. Dalton was jamming on acoustic. Everybody was singing, having a good time. At that point in time, when that all happens, the bus just takes off. Didn't even know what was going on. When it took off, it was so traumatic because everybody hit the ground. It just didn't start. It moved. When it moved, I'm on the ground, and meanwhile, we're plugged in. And being plugged in, it instantly went pitch black. And it didn't take us but a second and a half to realize something's not right here. I'm on the ground laying there. And Kenny was sitting next to me, or standing next to me. He hit the back of this on the fridge, and he was still on his feet. And I'm like, hey, Kenny, you got to get up front. You got to stop the bus, while everybody's screaming. And when all that happened, that's when that I'll turn the story over to Kenny, because Kenny was the guy that actually stopped the bus.
Monkey mange.
Yeah, monkey mange, squirrel. There was quite a few people up here, and everybody was up in the front, on the ground, trying to yell at him. I'd climbed over everybody to the front.
Dark in here, right?
Dark, pitch black, not knowing what's going on. Not knowing who's in this front seat. Reached down under here, pushed the brake with my hands, and took the key out so the engine wouldn't run anymore. So he couldn't push the gas anymore. I had my head down here, and when I had got up, he was already outside. I wasn't aware of what's gone outside. In the video, you see me bringing a girl towards an ambulance, and she was in here, and during the commotion when she had cut herself, and I was cleaning her up a little bit and bandaging her up. I didn't know they were doing a live video, and I was trying to just bring her to the ambulance because I saw the ambulance there, and they didn't want me to get into the commotion that was happening outside because I had no idea what was going on outside.
Now, when Kenny got the bus stopped, I myself was standing back here, and I figured at that point it's safe enough to stop. I got to figure the quickest way to get out. Because there were people piled over people trying to get up here because all the people we had in there, everybody collectively was trying to, stop this guy. He wouldn't say a word. He'd say nothing to us, which was the weirdest part out of everything because this guy wasn't talking. Mm-hmm. It was insane. So I figured the most logical thing to do would be to pull him out of the driver's seat. And once we got stopped, I knew we were well enough stopped. I made my way out of this door and came around to the front and pulled him out of the driver's seat. Once I pulled him out, me and him got into a minor scuffle, and it was at that point when Scott, following in a car, came up and got out and saw that I was in a scuffle with this guy, and Scott came and helped me subdue him.
Yeah. We pulled up. As I pulled up, I saw Dalton yanking on the driver's door, and my heart, when I was watching the RV pull away, it was just like one of my kids had just fallen off of something. It was heavy, like this is our livelihood. We live in this. When we're out here on the road, this is our home, this is my house, man, and just to see it driving away and not knowing what we're going to do, we're hours and hours from home, or how far that RV is going to get before somebody stops it. It was just an intense, scenario, and somebody was backing out. As soon as the bus took off, the people that were left over knew something was wrong, and it was pandemonium at the bar. There were people coming outside and yelling and trying to help, and I gotta say, the people of Burgestown, some of the coolest people I ever met in my life, man. They were all helpful. Yeah. They were picking our shit up off the road while we were down the road. They were driving down to check on us. Everybody at that bar, wanted to make sure that everything was all right, and that, that we didn't feel any kind of animosity towards them. Fuck that noise. We're coming back to Burgestown, and, we'll just deal with whatever we have to deal with to make that happen, but that's happened. I don't give a fuck. But in this instance, as we were going down the road, we come around the corner, and I see the bus stopped, and I see the four-ways on. Instant relief. Mind you, at this time, we were loading out gear, Ken and I, and did not know who was in the bus. Honestly, I had no idea how many people were up in here. I was hoping somebody was in here, and when I looked around, I did a quick inventory. Most of my bandmates weren't there, so I assumed they were in the bus, so I was hopeful that we would get that thing stopped. And when I got down there and came around the curve, the first thing I saw was Dalton yanking on the door and yelling at the dude to pull him out. And, we stopped a good way back because I didn't want to run in anybody, so I just told him, stop, 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 and we were a good way behind the trailer, so I had to come running up. And as I was running up, they started fighting, and the guy was trying to get away because he realized, exactly what was going on. And so as they started scuffling, I came up and helped Dalton take the dude to the ground, and he was trying to scuffle with us, so we held him down and got him quiet. And it wasn't it is what it is, guys. We had to make sure that the dude wasn't gonna go anywhere, but I saw some things on Facebook about him putting out, that we were having a boot party on his head or something like that. The guy obviously got some screws loose. He's talking all about this stuff on Facebook. I mean, you can probably go find it for yourself. And saying that there were multiple people beating on him and stuff like that. It wasn't like that. By the time, John, by the time I come across, literally everybody's inside. The bus is stopped. I'm inside making sure everybody's okay. That's when Kenny was helping that one girl. I'm checking on all the other girls. It was mostly girls on this bus. I come outside. By the time I come outside, less than a minute later, it was done. I mean, this guy he was subdued, and it was done. It wasn't like. Nah, he was not unconscious. He was there the whole time, awake, talking shit to us, and we were just telling him to shut up and stay down. It's not like we beat him into oblivion and he was knocked out there. We never knocked him out. He was never unconscious. It was just basically, stop fighting, dude. You're not going anywhere. Stay put. And then stay quiet until the police get here. And that's all it was. And you can see that in the video. Obviously in the video, it's where it picks up when the police get there. He's bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, you know.
That's when we called Adam and stuff to figure out how everything was going on at the bar too, or
Yeah.
how much equipment had spilled out, what was still there at the bar inventory.
Yeah, absolutely. It was crazy. Oz and I was actually coming out with a set of cabs, and we hear gravel, just really loud gravel being ruffled through the parking lot. And we dropped the cab and ran out the door, hearing Scott yell, "No, no, no, stop the bus, stop the bus." And what was next was like a movie scene. You see the RV pulling out of this parking lot at like 80 miles an hour. There's guitar cases rumbling out of the trailer. Sparks all across the bottom edge of the trailer where the ramp was still down because we were loading it. The drop cords that we had plugged into the building had ripped out and everything thrown through the air. We had a bunch of food on the back. There's Gatorade bottles flying everywhere, all in the middle of the road. And then like Scott said earlier, everybody in that bar came out and helped us pick up stuff, bring it back in. And it was something. They sat with us in the farm bar in Burgettstown for 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning until we resolved that.
Yeah,
And then,
very
like, yeah, they're awesome. So,
Hunter, what'd you see? Mostly just sipping your juice box, huh, buddy?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. Ken, how about you? This is our roadie, Ken. A lot of y'all know Ozzy. He was the blogger on the last store that gave y'all the play-by-play of everything that happened. What'd you see, buddy?
Well, like my man Adam over there said, we were in the venue loading out gear. I remember hearing my man Scott screaming, just a frantic scream of no, no, no. I knew something was wrong. I came out there and you ever see one of those thriller movies where somebody's having a normal day and suddenly something happens like a carjacking and the world gets turned upside down? It was worse than that, you know. I just saw, as he said, gear being spun out the trailer, sparks going down the road, driving erratically, and me and my man Scott and Adam, we had no clue. I mean, we knew something wrong was going on, something really bad was going on. I ran after it down the highway for a short distance until I couldn't see sparks anymore, and that's when the real abysmal fear set in, the unknown fear. You know, what's going on, what's about to happen next, you don't know.
Somebody stole our house, man.
There goes everything. Woo!
Pure fear.
You know, it was definitely a pure fear, rage. I remember seeing all our gear and having 3 different things going through my head at one time. Me and my man Adam, we got to collect this gear. Scott I already knew what was on his mind. Get the machine back, get the Tribe machine back. And I remember seeing him hopping in a vehicle and he's already going down the road. I remember people saying, call the cops, and I couldn't have agreed more. I didn't have a cell phone on me at the time. And the only thing I knew was I was at a farm, a bar called The Farm in Burgettstown, Pennsylvania. I couldn't give anybody an address or anything like that. I started just frantically picking up gear with my man Adam, and one of the locals, real cool guy, I can't remember his name, he offered to give me a ride to try to catch up with him, and I absolutely accepted. We were blazing down the road, and I remember seeing 3 individuals that were in the RV. They had walked maybe a half a mile back from where the RV had come to a stop. And it was 2 fans from the Michigan area that had come to see us. They hopped in and told us exactly where to go. And by the time we got up to the RV, everything had relatively calmed down. I mean, this individual who took the RV, yeah, he was subdued. Everybody was just trying to piece together what was going on. When the Pennsylvania Highway Patrol showed up, they worked with us as best they could, and they got us out of there as quickly as they could. I mean,
They were cool, man. They were professional. They did their job. You know, they made sure to take everything into account, and they were patient in dealing with us, and they were patient in dealing with the situation. Can't say enough about it, man. I imagine it would have been easy for them to draw some conclusions about us in a bus in the middle of nowhere, long hair, looking like we look, but they were very professional.
Smelling like we smell.
And I really do appreciate that, man. I really do appreciate that. I guess our camera person, Kate, you were in there, dear. Tell us a little something.
I mean, it was just one of the scariest parts of my life, really. I mean, you know, like he said, this is our home. This is my first tour, of course. So, for someone to just like come into your comfort space, the only comfort space you have on the road is your bus, your RV. So for someone to come in here and just kind of disturb that entire thing, especially when we were having such a good time. I know a lot of people are wondering how it could have happened, how someone can get in your bus and take it without someone noticing. And I just need everyone to understand that Dalton was sitting here with an acoustic guitar and I was over there, and we were all huddled, and we were all just so, like, we were literally like sitting all together like this. We were just having a great time, you know, hanging out, and no one was paying attention, you know. That's the thing. It was just a total surprise. And, you know, whenever the power got ripped out, it was completely black, so that made it much more terrifying. I immediately, well, first I tried to bail from the bus, but that Dalton convinced me not to, and I'm really glad, because we were
Tuck and roll, we're doing 80.
to go really quite fast. And I guess I didn't realize how fast we were going until I kind of tried to open the door and was like, oh, I can't. So, yeah, I mean, I like Kenny said, we were all up there trying to stop him. And I remember at one point looking up, and this was the scariest moment. I remember I was looking up, and like they said, it was just really creepy that we were all screaming at him and he wasn't saying a word, just, you know. And it became very clear that he didn't have, you know, good intentions, obviously, and that it wasn't going to end well if we let him keep doing what he was doing. So, like I said, I got up there right as Kenny was grabbing the wheel, trying to turn it to the right, because we were at a fork in the road, and in the middle was a giant pole where he was trying to drive us into, and thank God Kenny got the wheel when he did, because I just remember that still makes my heart like freak out as it is right now. Just thinking about how I felt when I was trying to help, and then I look up and this is like I really just thought we were all going down, you know?
Oh yeah.
And then at that time, none of us even knew the trailer, you know. I mean, obviously the trailer was open because we were doing loadout, but none of us really knew that wasn't even a thought, you know? So we were like, there were two completely different scenarios, and then when we all came together, it was just like, none of us could believe it happened, you know. We were just as surprised as the cops were. I remember explaining and being like, am I really saying this right now, you know? It was like a real life nightmare, and I'm just really happy that everyone was proactive as we were, in a way where we knew we had to stop it immediately, and it was just really, really scary. I mean, I looked at Dalton, we were both shaking, you know, I was crying, and that was such like, you know, I thought I was going to bond with these guys, but not that much. So, I mean, I don't know, I honestly couldn't ask for a better crew to be with, though, because just, you know, I don't know, I just feel, I don't know. He thought he could take us, but he was wrong.
Yeah. Yeah, going back and going on to that last point, we'd seen some comments where people were like, take your keys out of the bus, or, you know, hide your keys. We appreciate that, but it's an RV. It idles, you know. If you're in a band, you have to idle the RV, because if you have a trailer open in the back and you're running lights and the RV's not idling, the battery will die. And we've already killed the battery 2 or 3 times doing that, and on top of that, it's cold, you know. So you got to keep the RV on so that it stays warm in here. An RV always idles. But who would think that a man would jump into an idling RV with people in the back loading gear, and a group of people within, you know, 3 feet of the driver's seat would start up the bus and take off? It just wasn't something you could plan for. So simplifying it with, oh, next time hide your keys, is a little insulting, to be quite honest. You know, we'll just make sure to be more vigilant on our end, and make sure that we're more aware. Obviously, after this, we're going to take preparations to make sure that things like that don't happen anymore, because really, you know, that's the main takeaway that we have from this, is that, you know, we've got to be more aware, you know, just to make sure stuff like that doesn't ever happen again, you know what I mean?
What the fuck?